Good morning, Brick Hollow third graders. This week we're going to be working on Lesson 7 in Connected and Respected, Conflict Escalation. We're going to start with our gathering, what makes things worse. So teachers, you're going to have your students go around the room and complete this sentence. When I get upset, one thing that makes it worse is... Okay, hopefully everybody's had a chance to share their one thing that makes it worse when they're upset. Now we're going to talk about our agenda check. When conflict gets worse, we say it escalates. What does an escalator do? It goes up. Today our topic, or it goes up or it goes down. Today our topic is escalation. We're going to do some role plays to see how this works. A conflict might begin when someone says or does something that makes you a little upset. Then, because you're upset, you might say something back that would make the other person get even more upset. We saw how this can happen during the gathering. Sometimes being in a conflict can feel like taking a ride on that escalator. Once it starts, you're on your way to the top. Fortunately, if we understand what makes conflict escalate, we can deal with it better. After we observe the role play, we'll work in groups to examine what makes conflict escalate, and then we'll discuss those things. The closing will allow the class to share some ideas of how to come back down the escalator. So our activity is the backpack conflict. Hey teachers, if you could have the two students that you need to volunteer to read or to act out the backpack conflict, okay, and then have them act out that play. The rest of the students you're going to put in groups of 2 or 3 and give each group a copy of the script. They're also going to need paper and markers. Your students are going to draw an escalator with 4 steps on the chart paper. Then the students are going to identify each place in the script where the conflict escalated and write it on the ascending steps of the escalator. So there should be 4 spots in the script where the conflict escalated. Under each step, write the feelings that were probably present for the person who heard the comment. For example, the first step might be described, Giorgio was hit on the head by the backpack. And under that step might be irritation because Giorgio feels irritated, which causes him to call Daniel stupid. So under that step, you might write angry. Danielle stupid, sorry, not Daniel. Because Danielle would be angry that Giorgio calls her a name. So you're going to have them do that for each step of the escalator. When you're finished, when all the students are finished, discuss how the conflict escalated. Students, what was the first thing that happened in this conflict? What did you place on the top of your escalator? What things did the characters do that made this conflict worse? So feelings drive the escalator. The higher one goes, the harder it has to come down because the feelings have intensified. Sometimes our feelings become out of control and take away our ability to think clearly. Then we sometimes do things we're sorry for later. It's helpful to recognize escalation so we can choose to stop it and also perhaps choose to de-escalate. De-escalating is doing or saying something that helps manage those feelings. So students, you may also think about when you're upset and you're having these escalating feelings where they're going up. Think about the baggage that you're taking on that escalator too. Your baggage could be your mood, your feelings about the person, how you feel that day. Maybe you got upset at home and you carried that with you, so there's your baggage, and so you're already upset and you're already in a bad mood, and then you get upset with your friend, so that adds to your escalating. For our debriefing, what could Danielle and Giorgio have done differently so that the conflict would not have escalated? Ignoring might be one way to stop the escalation. Students, think about what might have de-escalated that situation, and how do you imagine they solved their problem? For our closing and our de-escalation, Again, students, you can share however, if you're in a circle or however your teachers want you to share. Share about a time that you've engaged in a conflict or a disagreement and you chose not to respond in an aggressive way, or you chose to apologize for making a mistake, thereby preventing the conflict from escalating. So a time that you were in a conflict or a disagreement and you chose not to be aggressive, or maybe you actually chose to apologize for making a mistake, and that prevented the conflict from escalating. Hey, I hope you have a good week. Remember, we're working on responsibility, and part of responsibility is taking control of conflicts and not escalating them, but to help de-escalate a conflict and to not engage. Have a great week, and I will see you next week.